Hello, we are going to discuss about the topic of the course entitled with classical mechanics, classical electrodynamics and quantum mechanics. This is first unit Lagrangian formulation. Lagrangian formulation is another or alternative formation of Newtonian mechanics. In this unit, we are going to learn about constraints, degrees of freedom, generalized coordinates, principle of virtual work, D'Alembert principle, Lagrange equation from D'Alembert principle, application of Lagrangian equation to a particle in space, Atwood machine, and last one, a bead sliding on a uniformly rotating wire under force-free condition. The objective of unit first are given here. The student should able to understand the concept of constraint. Student should able to give an example of constraint. To understand the concept of degree of freedom, to find the degree of freedom of the given system, and so on. What is constraints? In the classical mechanics, a constraint on a system is a parameter that the system must obey, or limiting the motion of system called as constraint. That means constraints means restrictions. So we can say that the restriction motion is called as constant motion. Let us consider some examples to understand the concept of constraint. A bird is flying in the sky. Let us consider a three-dimensional coordinate system. Three-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system. In three-dimensional space, a Cartesian coordinate system is based on three mutually three mutually perpendicular axes. Here, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. Now, a bird is flying in this system. There is no restriction on the motion of a bird to fly in three-dimensional space. So bird can fly in any direction without any constraint. So there is no restriction or no constraint on a motion of the bird. Let us take a second example. A box sliding down on a slope. This is a slope and this is a box. Now, a box is sliding down a slope. It must remain on the slope. A box remains on the slope because there are some restriction or constraints on the motion of box. Let me take some more examples to understand the concept constraint. Let us consider a rigid body having points P and Q in the Cartesian coordinate system as shown in figures. Let us consider O is the origin. We take the position vector Rp bar for the point P and Rq bar for the point Q. The length of the rigid body is constant and denoted by CQP bar vector. According to the vector law of addition, Rp bar is equal to Rp bar is equal to Rq bar plus CQP bar. Now, if we rearrange the term Rq bar from the right side to left side, we get this equation. Now we take square on both sides. We now we take square on both sides and then rearrange the term. We get this equation. On rearranging the term on all the left side, rearrange them on the left side. Okay. Here we observe that the distance between 2 points remains constant. Okay. Let me consider second example. The dumbbell. Here the length of the dumbbell is L is constant. Along the x-axis, the length of dumbbell is equal to XL, and along y-axis 0. Along z-axis also 0, because it is 0 means the constants along y and z axis. So we get equation. Now next, let us go for new example. We take a simple pendulum. Yeah, having length L, the simple pendulum oscillate back and forth with periodic motion along R ABC in xy plane. The equation of simple pendulum is x square plus z square is equal to L square. Sorry, this pendulum is oscillating x z plane. The motion of simple pendulum is restricted along y axis. So y is equal to 0, and or we can say the constant on y coordinates. Now we take another example. Two bodies connected with string L as shown in figure. If there are constants along x and y axis, then the distance between two bodies along z axis may vary from 0 to L, because the body is connected with the maximum length of string is L. Here we observe that we got inequalities relation. Here the constants are produced for the motion of particles due to the string. Okay. Now we take another example. Suppose a two body connected with a string L as shown in the figure. If there are constants along x axis, along y axis, and then the distance between two bodies along z axis may vary from 0 to L. Here we observe that we got inequalities. Let's go for another example. Particle in a box. Particles in a box. Let us assume that the dimension of a box along x-axis is A, along y-axis is B, along z-axis is C. So the motion of the particles along x-axis is A, maximum A from the origin. So similar for the y-axis and z-axis. The motion of particle is maximum to B and C respectively. Here we observe that we got inequalities relations. Here the constants are produced for the motion of the particles is due to their inner wall of the box. Let us discuss another example. A bead sliding on a straight wire up length L. Let us assume that the bead is sliding on a wire along x-axis. So there is a constraint or restriction on the motion of bead along x and along z-axis. The motion of bead is allowed between 0 and L. Here we got inequalities relations. We observe from the above examples 1 to 6, we got some equations from examples 1 to 3 and inequalities relations from example 4 to 6. So from such a equations and inequalities relation, constants can be classified into holonomic constant and non-holonomic constant. So if the condition of constants can be expressed as equations connecting the coordinates of particles called as holonomic constant. The example of holonomic constants are rigid body, simple pendulum, and the constant relation are not holonomic, called as non-holonomic constant. Here we see the f is the function which depends on x-axis and y-axis. So let us consider the equation for rigid body. This is the equation for rigid body. This is depend on position vector r p and this position vector r q. C is the constant for the rigid body. So if we write the equation in this form, the function is dependent on rp and rq is equal to 0, like this. So in the generalized form of the holonomic constant written in the f of r1 bar, r2 bar, r3 bar, and so on, and rn bar, and t is for time, is equal to 0. So if the equation cannot be written in this form, so the if the relation is cannot be written in this equation form, so for that equation called as non-holonomic equations. Example of non-holonomic constant is rolling of spherical ball on surface without sliding. Or these are the examples of non-holonomic constant. Constants are further classified according to whether the equation of constant contains time as explicit variable or not explicit dependent on time. So scleronomic constant is the constant relation do not explicit depend on time. The example of such a constant is water filled in bottle. For the rheonomic constant is the constant relation or explicitly depends on time. The example of such a constant is pendulum with variable length. If the length of pendulum may change, the time period of the pendulum also change. Constant may be classified conservative, dissipative, bilateral, and unilateral constant. If the total mechanical energy of the system is conserved while performing the constant motion, is called as conservative constant. Constant force do not do any work. The example is a rigid body. And in a dissipative constant, the constant force do not work and total mechanical energy is conserved. Total mechanical energy is conserved. Examples of such constants are pendulum with variable length, expanding or contracting gas-filled container, or deformable bodies. In the bilateral constant, at any point of constant surface, both the forward and backward motion are possible. Constant relations are not in the form of inequalities, but are in the form of equations. Examples: deformable bodies, simple pendulum with supports. And for the unilateral constant, at some points no forward motion is possible. Constant relations are expressed in the form of inequalities. Example: expanding or contracting gas-filled container. The next topic is degrees of freedom. The number of independent coordinates to specify the motion of an object at a given time. These independent coordinates are called as degree of freedom. Or least possible number of independent coordinates required to specify the motion of system completely by taking into account the constraint is called degree of freedom. Let us consider an example. A bird is flying in the sky. The bird can fly in any direction along x-axis, along y-axis, along z-axis. So, in the Cartesian coordinate system, to specify the motion of a bird, we require x, y, z coordinates. This is a x, this is a y, this is y, this is y, sorry, this is x and this is x, and this is z coordinates. The bird is flying above the xy plane. The bird is flying above the xy plane at a distance z from the plane. So we required three independent coordinates to specify the position or motion of bird, and therefore the degrees of freedom is 3 for the bird. Let me take some examples. Suppose we have a particle. Let us take some examples. Suppose we have one particle in three-dimensional space. So the degree of freedom for one particle is 3 independent coordinates into one particle is equal to 3. Now the degree of freedom for two particles is 3 independent coordinates into two particles is equal to 6. So the degree of freedom for two particles is 6. Each particle have 3 degree of freedoms. Like this, degree of freedom for n particles is 3 independent coordinates into n number of particles is equal to 3n. Each particle have 3 degrees of freedom. So n particle has 3n degrees of freedom. Now consider a particle is constrained to move on a one-dimensional curve. Consider a particle is constrained to move on a one-dimensional curve. So the question is, what is the degree of freedom for the particle? And the same particle is constrained to move on two-dimensional curved surface. Then what is the degree of freedom for the particle? Here the degree of freedom for the particle on a curve is 1, and the degree of freedom for the particle on the curved surface is 2. Here, to find the particle on the curve, we require to measure a distance from the reference point or origin point to the particle along the curve. So the degree of freedom is 1. We require to measure a distance. We require to measure a distance from the origin or reference point to the particle along the curve. So the degree of freedom is 1. Similarly, to find the particle on the curve, consider this is a reference point. We go along the curve this side and then this side. If particle is here, so the degree of freedom is 2. So the degree of freedom for the curve is 1 and for the curve surface is 2.